Yeah, so thank you for now everything is okay, right? Everything is good.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you. First thing I want to thank you for giving me a opportunity to talk with you and allowing me to talk with you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for talking with me.
Yeah. So can you introduce yourself to my audience?
I'm sorry.
Can you introduce yourself to my
Oh,
audience?
yes, yes, yes. My name is Cameron KIELB. Um, yeah, I'm a writer author out here in out here in Illinois, Chicago, United States.
Okay. So your books are The Kingdom,
Yes, yes,
Hidden City, Hidden City.
yes, yeah. So I've got a few books out here, but it's all a series called The Kingdom. Um, Hidden City is book one, and it starts off just it was an idea I came up with years ago, but I never had the time to write, and I finally just decided I needed to do it. As any author would tell you, sometimes the story feels like it kind of is revealed to yourself. Um, so it starts off. It's a book in the future, kind of a science fiction fantasy, and we're looking at a time where there's a lot of mistrust between a magical and a non-magical community. But it's a journey book where I've got the main character. The main character, his name is Max, and he has to kind of he has magic, but he has to team up with people that don't have magic. And underneath it all, it's about kind of doing the right thing, even when people who have more power and more control are trying to tell you otherwise. But yet, these guys they team up together to do what's right, and it's not easy to do, as we probably can relate to in life.
So science fiction,
What's that?
science fiction.
Yeah, science fiction, fantasy. It's definitely got a fantasy, um, a realistic fantasy setting to it, where there's definitely magic. There's also you know a sciency aspect of futuristic technology that's playing into effect. In fact, there's one such thing is this all happens in a post in a world like a post devastating war where the world kind of tears itself apart, and they have to utilize different resources to get power. So I've got some just alternative energy that's being pumped into some of the cities selectively.
Okay. So when you started writing this book,
I started probably about 5 years ago or so was when I started. It was when I was actually in college. Um, and it started as an idea that I just did some outlining with. And once I got out of college, I got to actually buckle down and do it. And Hidden City, which is book one, I believe was, double check the publication date, was about 2019. So um, published it about a little over a year or two. Actually, about 2 years ago, I want to say, is when it came out.
so Kingdom is a series. I have seen the second book also. You named the subtitle is some other thing other
Yes,
than the Hidden City.
yes, yes. So the kingdom is the overarching series, which refers to actually the different kingdom of magical cities. Book one is called Hidden City, which I have here. Um, book two is called A Solemn Truth, and A Solemn Truth is just a continued a make through uh, what's going on. They kind of diving in deeper to some of the details that are in the background that they were not privy to. And as you, it's kind of like an iceberg. As you get deeper and deeper into things, you realize how far things go. Um, and the whole series culminates with book three called Unity, which actually this is my author copy. I just recently published this book a couple weeks ago. Like I said, it's called Unity, and
Okay.
that is the finale of the entire series, which I'm super excited about.
So you created a kingdom and you are explaining about that kingdom, and that is completely a story which has not existed, which is not took, which you didn't took from the history or from any other book.
Correct, correct. It's completely fictional fantasy, completely made up. Um, I'm sure there was influences. I'm a huge reader, so I'm sure there were influences that crept out, but this wasn't any part of history, or I didn't borrow or take anything from other worlds already created. So this is kind of its own thing.
Okay, so it is about future, what
Yes,
happens in the future.
yes, it's a future. It's a future story of what happens after a war tears apart the world, basically, and then what's left behind.
Okay, so what actually made you to put war in the world and create a new world?
That's a good question. Um, so I like to perhaps dramatize or take things that are going on in current like in our current world, our current lives, and maybe dramatize them to what could happen if if we're not careful. So for me, the influence was just the one of my underlining themes is just coming together and accepting each other for our differences and uniting. And I have a hard time sometimes looking at the world today, and you see some of the tensions and um, just the violence and all that between each other. And my mind just went, what happens if we take it so far that this happens? And then I was just kind of motivated to, all right, well, let's let's make a story about this. Let's see what would happen. But still kind of creating its own fiction fantasy aspect to it.
What is the thing that a reader thinks after reading the book called Kingdom, the Hidden City?
What would I like them to take away? Is that the
What
question?
what, what do they think after
What? Do,
reading that book?
yeah. Um. Most people, the Kingdom, the book one leaves off on a cliffhanger. Um. So most people are like, "Oh wow, like what happens next?" They tell me that basically they are curious to know, a first, how did I come up with this idea, which I kind of described to you. Um, and then they can just say they can see a lot of people that know me, especially if they've read it, will say they see a lot of just my personality sometimes come out in it, and they feel, and I hope they would feel this way, that I'm kind of calling them to do something that is just unite and be together and accept each other.
So the second book is about.
The second book is that was a solemn truth, and for me, that was kind of Mox and this crew of people that he's come to know that don't have magic. They have kind of just cracked the surface in book one, and they think they're doing what's right, and they're very assured about it. And then they get a step deeper and they realize, whoa, there's a lot of things going on here that I don't like, and I didn't realize was happening. Um, so book two is about, sometimes it's about them kind of coming to terms with the truth of what's going on and the truth of dealing with some of their decisions that they made in book one. Um, they decided to do a few things, and I don't want to give away the story in too much detail, but they decided to make some decisions, and book two find out that perhaps not everything they did was the best idea. Something that they were so sure about was not as good as they thought. And now they have to deal with that truth and move forward into seeing now what do I need to do to continue doing the right thing.
So, what are the characters are there in your book?
So the main character, his name is Mox. He he is a magician, if you will, who kind of is learning how to deal with his powers. Uh, he's long removed from his father, who left when he was a boy for unknown reasons, and he will come back in the story, I promise. Um, he teams up with two other people in the hidden city, which he finds. Um, and he's actually looking for his father because he knows that his father left when he was a boy to do something very important. And had always dreamed that he was out saving the world of some sort. So here in Hidden City, he meets two friends that don't have magic. Their name is Brand and a girl named Nikki. And they're all about 20-ish years old, by the way, between them. And Brand has grown up. He's the son of the commander of that city's. He's the son of the commander, so he's had a very regimented and strict upbringing. And Nikki is has grown up underneath the watchful eye of her mother, who's um, the doctor of their city. And both of them, Nikki and Brand, have teamed up with a bunch of the other kids and young adults of the city to kind of resist what's going on, which is that every year or so, a couple of their kids get taken away. And they don't think that's right, but it's part of a bargain that was long set. So they've been kind of creating this underground resistance to kind of fight back for the next time that these bad magicians come to take their kids. Um, so those characters kind of end up teaming up with Mox, and those three have to learn first how to accept each other, as well as do the right thing and stick up against the elders, if you will, the leaders who are behind all of these bad things.
So, the third book is not yet released.
The third book actually is released. It just came out about a week ago. Um, and super excited about that. Um, the third book, just to kind of segue into that one, is throughout book two, which I said was a solemn truth. They had to make some hard decisions that they didn't want to make, but it was kind of their hands were forced. And now they have to again live with these horrible things that they maybe had to do just to survive and just to move forward. And book three is about first getting through that internal struggle of living with what they've done, and then on top of that, coming together to resist this this big looming presence that came introduced itself in book two. Um, this is where some of my science fiction aspects come. There's a very bad man. Uh, the main bad character, if you will, his name is Zaffin, and he has magical powers, but he's from a different world. And they're coming to basically take over the planet, and they want to they want to kind of team up with the magical community that thinks they're better than the non-magical community, and they're wanting to team up with them and then just wipe out the rest of the world. So, and the only way chance that they have of resisting this is to be able to team up together. And book three is again that's getting into the crux of it, where they first must live with what they've done and get over it and move forward and unite these people that don't see eye to eye. Because if we can't unite and fight together, they're just not going to be strong enough to face this force that's coming down to just wipe them out. So book three is lots of action, um, lots of drama in that one. Just trying to get over things and work together.
So all these three books, people who watches this video, they can get book in Amazon, right?
Yes, Amazon is the main distributor for, especially if you do want a paperback. Amazon is the distributor for that. I do as well. Um, am working and actually have a website which you're able to buy the ebooks for, um, and get it's through Book Funnel if anyone is familiar with that, but you're able to purchase an ebook and it'll come to you. Book Funnel will actually send you an edition that is compatible with whatever device you're reading. So it can either be for your Kindle or your Nook or whatever. Um, so I've got that for all three of them. And in fact, book one and book two, so Hidden City and A Solemn Truth, um, have also been bundled into one edition. They're both a little shorter. Um, so they're both a little bit more of a quicker reads. So those two have also been bundled just on the ebook, which you can purchase from Amazon, or my website, and a little bit of a discounted price, and then you get book one and two, and you're able to just tackle both of those. And then book three will be up, in addition to Amazon, will be up on my website within the next week or two.
Awesome. I'm sure you'll be happy because your third book is out.
Yes, yes, it's kind of a bittersweet because it's the finale of a series of people, of characters that I've gotten to know in my head so well over the last 4 or 5 years. So it's been a long process. Um, so finishing it was both exciting because it was, the end of the journey, but at the same time, in a almost sad sort of way, it was almost like saying goodbye to these people that I've known for a few years, um, that I've cooked up in my head and that have come to life and seem so real to me now. But nonetheless, we celebrate our success, and that's kind of what it's all about. So, um, even as I'm celebrating slash mourning over these characters, I mean, it's what the journey itself is what's so fun about writing. If you truly like being an author and creating stories, like, the end product is great and you're very excited and proud about it. But enjoyed I enjoyed writing it day by day, word by word. So I'm already kind of diving into what the next project's going to be or what the next book is, and getting really excited to do that again.
So Kingdom 4, when it is coming out?
Kingdom 4, well, there will be no more Kingdom.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so book 3 was, unless I end up doing some sort of sequel in the future, book three definitely rounds out very well and kind of completes this current story of the kingdom. There, I guess I couldn't say never could be a sequel, but for now, this series is going to come laid to rest, and my next work is just a completely new project.
Awesome. So let me know about your writing skills, when you started writing and what actually made you to become a writer and author.
Yeah, um, I always wanted to write when I was younger, but for whatever reasons was either too busy or it just seemed like too much work. Again, anyone who's ever tried writing realizes how much discipline it takes to actually sit down and write over and over again and continue to work on your craft. But again, finally, there was just a time where, especially through college, which I went to college and I have, a career in a completely different thing, and um, writing is more of my hobby and pastime than I'm working on my craft, if you will. But anyway, it was just getting a chance to kind of escape into your own world, and then I kind of fell in love with doing it. I wish I would have started it. Like all those years that I kept procrastinating, I wish I would have started because it's turned into a truly therapeutic thing for me to write in the morning. I have a couple kids, um, a family, and as much as you love them, sometimes it's nice just to have a quick little hour of introspection where you're working. And normally I'll do that before the kids wake up in the morning. And that's kind of what started at first was just like, hey, I need a little bit of time just to kind of be by myself. And this was just what was calling for me to do it.
But still, you did it in the limited time that you have.
Yes, very limited time. Um, Basically, it's a balance, but I typically do try to wake up in the morning. Normally, for me, that means a little bit before 5 a.m. and at least two, if not three to four times a week, try to get down and write for about an hour, hour and a half before before the day gets started. Because once the day gets started, it can be hard to squeeze it in as it goes on, as the day goes on.
Okay, so how old are you?
I'm 29. 29. I'm
29.
hoping to stay 29 for a while.
Okay. You are 2 years older than me.
What's that?
You are 2 years older than me.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. 30, they say, is a big one. I know it's just a number, is what I'm saying.
So, what is your inspiration?
Inspiration? My inspiration is I grew up reading a lot and used to love just being taken in my mind to a whole new place. Whether it was reading The Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or any of those probably very well known stories, plus a bunch of not well known stories I love to read. Um, I just remembered that feeling of being taken away to somewhere else and truly wrapped up in the story that was kind of an escape, if not just a therapeutic outlet to what was going on in today's life. What and whatever your stressor is, it didn't matter. It was just very comforting to be able to do. So my inspiration was kind of thinking about that is I want to be able to do that for other people is be able to give them a story that takes them somewhere and it takes them away that for me at least is also maybe applicable to some things that are going on in life and maybe have some sort of underlying message that I want you to receive. And but if you feel it in your heart, that's what I want. That's what I would, and I'm sure most people would say they'd love to hear.
So, do you have anything to say to the people, to the authors and writers who watches this video?
Yeah, authors and writers. I mean, basically, I would just say stick with it. It can be very hard and really daunting, um, but if you have a story that's speaking to you, then someone else is probably going to want to hear it. And just first and foremost, when you're writing for yourself, you're going to enjoy it. And as you continue to work on your craft and whatnot, it's going to be a story worth submitting and sending out there for other people to listen and hear and read because there's a reason why it's in your head and you're not alone and it can be very daunting to put your work out there. But at the end of the day, if you're writing for yourself, it doesn't really matter what where it all goes if you enjoyed the process. And one thing I've said before, I know I've said it on my blog, was that if you're also willing to continue to put in the time and the work, each each edition, each story you write should just get better and better. Um, there's truly, practice makes perfect, And although we'll never be perfect, as you continue to do something more and more and really work on your craft, you're gonna keep putting things out there that are gonna be better than your last, and that's all you can really do. I truly believe book 3 is better than book 2, which is better than book 1, and I think book 30, whenever I get there, will be better than book 25 or whatever. So just keep, if you love it, keep doing it and enjoy it.
Do you have anything to say to my audience and to the world?
All I can say is if you read my books, I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy it. I can't thank you enough for having me on, and for anybody listening or even willing to check it out. Um, any sort of you know any sort of feedback or any sort of just you know you even being here is a lot, especially when you're a new author like myself or any independent author that's trying to publish independently can tell you there's a lot to it. I mean, I got into writing for the writing, but if you're especially if you're doing independent author or independent writing, there's a whole other side to it that we're learning as well, and that involves advertising, publishing, just even formatting. I mean, I know most authors don't get into writing because they love formatting a book. They love writing the story, but we truly appreciate every single view. Anyone that's even willing to give you a chance and just read it, and that's all I can say. So thank you for talking with me. Thank you for listening. Anyone who's out there, I very much appreciate it.
Can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Absolutely,
Can I put this video on my Instagram too?
yes, you can.
Okay. Thank you so much for telling me about your book and about what actually made you to write this book and when you started writing and what actually is there in the book and what actually you are telling to the world using your book.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. I thank you so much. I appreciate you talking with me.
Take care. We'll see you soon. When you publish a new book, just inform me. I want to show to my audience.
Okay, I would love to. Thank you so much. I hope everyone has a good day.
Yeah, take care.
You too.
Bye.